personal interaction with the children is, first of all, it's a knowing, it's a gut instinct knowing of connection. It's almost like they look at you as if they're looking through you, and they're connecting with your energy, and they're not shy about it. They're very forward thinking, and it feels as if they're an old soul in a young body. And we, as workers, we just connect with it immediately. But on a physical level, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they usually have bright, big blue eyes. Huge, shiny, sparkly blue eyes. And it's like they pierce you, you know, because it's the seat of their soul. And they just use their eyes as their form of connection. Whoever, whatever they're working with, it's like the eyes. That is their radar almost. So for me, that's the first thing. I look at the eyes and go, oh, rainbow child. Yeah. The second thing is, normally, they're not so good with rules and regulations. You can't try and force boundaries on them, either because, you know what, they rebel. They rebel and they kick off, and, you know, it's the frustration because they know the future. They're wired up. But they accept it more openly than we do. Our rubbish gets in the way. We allowed our programs, our stories, our conditionings, our religions, our cultural beliefs to almost block us, whereas these beautiful children just go, what the heck? We are, you know, children of the future. We are the new revelation almost. The flip side of that, I find, is society can be guilty of labeling these children. Because they don't do boundaries, because they've got their own opinion, because they're forward thinkers, sometimes society's like, you know, ADHD is an example, attention deficit. Or even, I'm beginning to see children are diagnosed with autism, different degrees of autism, when actually they're not. They're very intuitive rainbow children. But the medical profession, sometimes parents, society don't know what to do with these children. And so it's really quite a shame that they then get stuck with a label and then sometimes institutionalized, and they start to behave as autistic children, when in fact they're not. They just need to be shown a different way. I would say relatively challenging, because I was a rainbow child, crystal child myself, and my parents didn't listen to me. I was one of 4. I rebelled. I didn't do the boundaries. I wasn't stigmatized, fortunately, but I grew up feeling very isolated, very alone, because I would look at society, or I would look at the universe and not really get it. Why were they not like me, or why was I not like them? I knew there was something different, and there was nobody really to say to me, it's okay. All you need to do is to be made to feel safe, and that it's okay, and everything will be fine, it will work out. But when you're going through school, when you're going through puberty, and you've got other siblings in the family, and they're not like you, and you're guilty, or you can be guilty of picking up lots of abandonment programs or rejection programs. And it's not the truth. We know that. It's just a story that we've bought into because we don't understand the earth plane. But equally, the earth plane doesn't understand us. I've got 3 beautiful children, and they're boys. They're typical boys. They're robust boys, you know, but very intuitive, very psychic. They didn't enjoy school because school was very, they considered it very oppressing. It wasn't expansive, it was very oppressive for them. They didn't understand why they had to go to school and learn about things that we'd probably never learn again. It was like, get to school, do the schoolwork, conform to society. Even though they were showing them, and I was witnessing desperate signs that they wanted freedom. We were fortunate enough to travel a lot. They're very active children. They didn't have computers and iPads and laptops and stuff like that, you know. We would go out and we would be berry picking or bird watching or fishing or being out in nature. And that's when I witnessed the boys being what I would call their true self, where they could just let go of any preconceived ideas that society had slapped on them and just feel comfortable in their own bodies, in their own mind, and be creative. So when it came to kind of the last year, 2 years of school, I remember sitting down with the boys and saying, okay guys, you're blatantly not academic, and I'm not going to push that on you, okay? But what you are is you are beautiful souls, you're beautiful people, and you have a lot to give. So let's find something that you enjoy, that you can have passion and excitement with, and that can be what you take forward into the future. And the boys were really happy with that. The thought of going to college and university just mortified them. The fact is that I didn't try and stick an academic label on them. Sadly, two of them, the eldest and the middle child, found their teenage years really frustrating and dabbled in alcohol and drugs. And again, that's something as a parent I was absolutely new to. I'd never witnessed this in my life. So trying to deal with that at the same time. And for me, it was like, don't judge them. They're not bad children. They're maybe just a little bit stuck somewhere. They don't really understand this concept of life. They wanted the ultimate freedom, and they thought it was this hedonistic lifestyle that they wanted, okay? So to support the boys through that as well, and to rescue them, and I use that word, oh gosh, really intensely, rescue them at times of need. But you know, the biggest thing for me was one of my sons was to let go completely, let him go off for a year, observe from a distance, and you know, as a parent, that is horrible. He made all the mistakes he could possibly make, but my parting words were, when you're ready, you come home and I'll help you, but only when you're ready. And it was maybe 12 to 14 months. He came home in tears, on his knees, please, Mum, help me now, okay? I've messed up, I've done what I had to go out there and do, but I'm asking you for your help. They're now into their early 20s, and they've got it made. They've been through the challenging times, but they understand now the freedom, the flexibility, what it's like to be a true rainbow child. They use their intuition day in and day out. There's no right and no wrong. There is only lessons in what you will do with these kids. But what I would say is just be patient with them. Be open-minded with them. Be a bit different. Yeah, speak to other parents, and don't be afraid to say, do you know what? Yeah, you are a bit different, but let's work on this. It's okay, because different is good. Different is the future. Different is our way forward. So for education, I think for teachers, listen to these children, because actually they know better than you. They will probably guide the teaching or the academic institutions. These kids already know it. Listen to them. Listen to what they want. Ask them, how do they want to be taught? And maybe just in their curriculum, add something a little bit more creative. Don't be so fixed with the boundaries and the system. And I can give you an example of a young boy. He must have just been 6 when we started to work together. And his mummy had just said, you know, he's hurting people, he's bullying, he's showing examples of anger and frustration, and she didn't know why. He was one of 3 children. So we collectively as a family were walking through the woods, and we held back and we were holding hands. And I just said, okay, so what's going on, you know? And immediately, I love it because they don't need to do the talking around things. Straight away, he said, Fiona, my mummy doesn't listen to me. And within seconds, and I was like, oh gosh, right, okay. So, you know, no pussyfooting about. I said, okay, that's cool. And I said, you know, give me an example. So he's telling me. And his mum's a busy mum with 3 children. She's a beautiful lady. So I suggested an example. I just gave him a small little rose quartz crystal to put in his pocket. And I said, you know what? When you want to talk to mum or dad, you pull out your crystal and you show them the crystal. And you say, Mum, I need to talk with you. And when the crystal comes out, that means this is serious. Yeah, you need to listen. Yeah, she has to stop whatever she's doing. They are rainbow children. Mum is a crystal child, absolutely. She has the big blue eyes, and so do the children. And I never, ever answer the phone when I'm teaching, ever. In the 13 years of this, I've never answered the phone. But for some reason, I instinctively knew I had to pick the phone up. And I said to the students, I'm really sorry, but I need to get that. And when I picked up the phone, it was my good phone, it was my good friend, and she said to me, I'm really sorry to Fiona, I'm really sorry to bother you. I know you're teaching, but I need to see you today. Is there any chance I could come with my son? And I said, absolutely. I said, come at lunchtime. They'll be out for a break. Let's do this. So she brought him over for lunch, and he had the scarf on, all wrapped around here, and he had the jacket on, covering the arms, and a woolly hat. And bless him, he wouldn't even come into the house. He was 17, and he was so nervous, and he was so scared and fearful. And so was his mum, you can imagine. And I said, okay, what's happened? And she said, he tried to take his life last night. He tried to hang himself. He tried to cut his wrists, and then he took tablets. And I said, oh my goodness, okay, just come in. I said, actually, my friend, I'm not going to say her name yet, can you just go for a walk while we just do this on our own? Because maybe this is part of what we're going to talk about, maybe not, but I think if we could just have that time together, we can really get to the bottom of this. And I can honestly say we spent about an hour and a half together, and he showed me his wounds, and he just felt trapped. He felt unloved, unconnected. He had this crisis within 24 hours that, do you know what, he's better off out of here. We just needed to remind him what an amazing person he was, what a worker he was. He's here to share knowledge with other teenagers, with other children, other rainbow children. And after our session, he had his flight booked to go to Australia and work in a cafe and travel the world. It was as quick as that. Yeah. So it was like, wow, if we can do that in an hour and a half, what can we do in a lifetime with these children? Yeah. So to be so desperate at the age of 17 to think I'm better off not being here. He just felt misunderstood. I say just, but I mean that from a place of love. He felt that isolation, that aloneness that a lot of the Crystal children feel, but didn't know what to do with it. He just needed to know, actually, you have a job to do. He's a teacher, he's our teacher, and he needs to go and share this knowledge with other like-minded children. So, amazing results. Within a few days, he phoned me. It was Valentine's Day. And he said, Fiona, I'm telling you to tell you that I love you, and that actually you've changed my life. And I thought, oh, it's because it was Valentine's Day, you know. And I said, oh, don't say that. And he said, no, you don't realise. I love you with all my heart and soul. So for a 17-year-old boy to say that to a grown woman is amazing. And that's the kind of love these kids have. But we just need to let them know it's okay to say that. It's okay to share that. So for the children, and this is something that I taught my own children, I'm going to say it sadly, but life has rules and regulations. Yeah? It's something that we can't get away from. And we may not like it, we may not accept these rules and regulations, we may not even agree with them, but they're there. And the best thing that we can do is, with the best of our ability, so be the best version of ourselves, and I'm not going to say abide because that seems too fixed, but do our best in the situation that we've got. For example, school. Okay, a lot of rainbow children really don't enjoy school. So it's like, find the beautiful lessons that situation is teaching you. Yeah. So you may dislike maths, you may dislike English, you may dislike geography, but when you get home at night time and you're questioning why do I need to go to school? Why do I need to go to just always bring back and think, well, actually, what is the beautiful lesson? What's the beautiful gift that going to school or being educated is really teaching me? Because it's not about this big list of examinations and qualifications you're going to have. Think of it more personally. Think of it like, look at the amazing other children who I get to meet day in, day out. Look at the amazing life skills and knowledge that this is going to teach me. Make it personal. Make it about you. What is it teaching me as a rainbow child? And what's the best thing I can possibly bring from this? And try not to get too roped up in, I don't enjoy school and I don't want to go, it's too many boundaries, there's too many conditions. Don't think about what you don't like. Think about the beauty and the teachings and the lessons that it's teaching you as a rainbow child. That's what I would say. We say to parents, we say to teachers, facilitators, listen to these children. Yeah, take the time and listen to these children. But actually, children, rainbow children, you are amazing. You are this massive sparkle of light, just of awesomeness. right? And it's like, use it to the best of your ability. You're not awesome for no reason. You're awesome because you have a job to do out there in the big wide world, and that's probably to impart knowledge of your story, of your life, so you can educate other children who are going through what you're going through. But one thing I would say is they're not old enough to have bought into the stories and the conditions that we have. Nothing gets in the way. They're so pure and so innocent. And for me, I just feel when we take them out into nature, they're working with the nature energy of which they really resonate with, and it's almost, they feel so safe in their surroundings. So working with the children, it usually is about feeling safe and being heard. 9.5 times out of 10, yeah. And it doesn't take long. You can be with a child 10 minutes. And all they need is, I need to feel safe, and they need something to anchor on, to feel safe, to be themselves. Focus on the good and the magic and the sparkle of who you are, not the stories and the rubbish that can sometimes get in the way.